So, welcome to the next edition of the Rare Business Podcast. With me today, I have Joan Babinski of Brainshark. First of all, Joan, can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and also the work you do?
Absolutely. So I'm Joan Babinski, VP of Marketing at Brainshark, and I'm also one of the early founding employees of the company. And so I've been here for 15 years, and so we've grown dramatically over those years. And so what Brainshark does is provide cloud-based solutions, so software as a service, that help companies improve their productivity in many key areas, so across sales and marketing and training. So the products and solutions we provide help you to do a couple things. One is we have a product called Brainshark On Demand that helps you take static documents like PowerPoints and other types of files and turn that into very engaging on-demand video.
Okay.
And since the very beginning, we've made it really easy for the average business person to do that. So, we realized that video is a great way to communicate. It's an engaging way to communicate. But until very recently, it really has been kind of difficult for the average business presenter to be able to create video. It often took special skills and time and, lots of production. So we really democratized essentially the use of multimedia and video content within the enterprise.
Okay.
And then we also have products, so that's really for communicating on demand, trying to reach people at a time and place that's convenient for them. But we also have products for delivering presentations in person, particularly from mobile devices. So we have a line of business called SlideShark that helps business presenters present easily from any device, whether their audience is right across the table from them or across the globe, and reach people at the same time.
Okay. Now, the reason we got together or we got connected up was because I was really interested in how you started this groundswell of advocacy amongst your customers, and how you call it the Brainshark Champion Program. So, first of all, can you tell me why you did that?
Sure. So, we were looking for a way to leverage kind of a lot of the good feeling that we already had in our customer base. And, because our product is really meant for the average business person, we have, much more than, say, just one person at an organization. That some technologies may be sort of centered around just a few people, but we really have a lot of people at the customer organizations that we work with that are using our product every day, and it's impacting their daily work life because, say, for example, they can deliver more effective communication that's more convenient for both for them to deliver and to reach the people that they need to reach, and for those people to experience their message. So it really sort of changed how people worked and enabled them to do things that not only make it easier to do the stuff they had to do every day, but also do things that they hadn't been able to do before because it was a great way to communicate. So, we found we had a lot of users within organizations that, if you ran into them at a cookout, they'd say, "Oh my goodness, you meet them, you work for Brainshark? I love Brainshark.
Right.
And this is how I use it." And so, we knew we had a lot of that good feeling around these organizations, and we thought, how do we tap into that more? Be able to find those people who really like to, say good things about our product and recommend our product, and they have it's meaningful to them because it's impacted their work life. And how do we scale that and let their voice be heard, and also in ways that are fulfilling to them as well, and provide some level of reward, whether it's not necessarily monetary, but rewards and fulfillment in other ways, and sort of have more of a two-way a two-way street to help them help us in ways that and really have a more reciprocal relationship and help get the word out about Brainshark.
Okay. And so how did you do that? I mean, because that's always the thing. It seems to be it's a bit of a nirvana. It's trying to get people to talk about you, to refer you, to introduce you, to connect you, all of those different things.
Yeah.
And people can always going to say, "That's brilliant," but how do you do that?
Yeah. Well, I think underlying it all is that, these champions have made an investment in us.
Right.
So whether it's the person that actually signs the contract that's made that financial investment and their organization has made that investment, but, that person has also made a professional investment in Brainshark and saying, hey, we're going to use this technology to do these things. And so they want us to succeed in that, in helping us improve our products or get the word to more people or share those successes. That also helps them. And it's, validation for them. It's also, it sort of helps them look good within their organization and that recognition. Mm-hmm. And also just a recognition for the work that they do every day that, maybe even sometimes their peers don't always see, but, that they, can share, hey, here's a successful program that we did, happen to use this technology and get the word out in that way. That also helps them look good. So that was sort of underlying it all. And when you say sort of I'm sorry, I'm trying to get back to your original question, the sort of the how we started.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you actually kind of start? I mean, is it do you just pick some random people, or what do you do?
Good, yeah. There's a few, we sort of tried to assess who our best advocates were, and they really are in a number of places, and they interact with us in a number of ways. So, with anyone getting started with this type of program, I'd urge you to, that's sort of the beginning of the plan, is looking at, who are they and where are they? They might be those people, and initially you might think of, those people that have actually purchased your product, the ones that signed the contract, but they're also the people that maybe have been influential in that decision. And they may be people that are, already doing things with you today in a number of ways. So maybe they're all already contributing to, say, just community discussions, or maybe they're following you on social channels and maybe sharing some of your content today. Mm-hmm. But then, they might not be doing any of that yet. Maybe they're just, your most active product users. So, when we looked at how do we, recruit some of these champions, we looked at that, who's using our product the most, who's responding to different programs that we do, whether we do a customer webinar or a workshop, who's actually engaging with us in those types of things. And, or people that maybe have just, had a really great interaction with us. So maybe it's someone that came off of a support call and that, and just received, an abundance of help, and they're pretty happy about that, and we can, invite them in to be a champion. And then we also look at, what other feedback we're getting from our customer base through things like our regular customer surveys or net promoter score question, and invite those people who, indicate that they are advocates through their feedback in those ways, and invite them in as well.
Okay.
And then we ask our employees to nominate folks. So we have a process where, our employees are our sales representatives, our customer experience managers who work very closely with our customers. They're all talking to our customers every day. And, they might come off a call and say, wow, this person had such a great story, and they were so happy about this project they just completed using our technology, and they would be perfect to invite them into the champion program.
Okay. And do you have to reward people for their involvement in this, in a program like this, or, because sometimes that's what a lot of people kind of get caught up with, because it's do people do it automatically, or do you need to reward them as well?
It's I think when we think about rewards, it's really a choice of rewards. So, and I think that's really been key. It doesn't necessarily mean a monetary reward, although that's, so some of the rewards that we have are, people can accumulate points for things like an Amazon gift card or a Starbucks card, but quite often, some of those rewards are, hey, you could have a free training, free online training session just for people in your company. Right. And that's something that, we offer. Or it might be, tickets to a local industry event. If we happen to have access to that, we want to sort of give our champions sort of the first refusal to get access to those types of things. Uh-huh. Or some things might be, hey, a quarterly call with our president. The rewards can be of many types. And we also have things like a badging system within our program. So that's kind of a reward that's not monetary, but it's sort of that reinforcement of, all right, you've sort of achieved this, next level of being a champion. And that's some type of reward as well.
And in your experience, what sort of incentives or rewards generally work kind of best? Mm-hmm.
Well, that's interesting because we've really, now that we've sort of built our champion program to what we feel is a good critical mass, we're doing more segmentation of our rewards. And so to answer that question of what works the best, it really depends on why people are being a champion in the first place and sort of what they hope to get out of it, and really sort of matching those rewards to that. So for example, there are some people who are big social sharers, and that's kind of what they like to do. And they, will see some, content that our team is sharing out on social channels, and, whether it's a new ebook or a presentation or a white paper, whatever it may be, just an article, and they'll say, and they just like to, reshare that content with their peers if it's, relative to a topic that's relevant to their profession. Mm-hmm. And so, with social shares, maybe they're things like, Amazon cards and that kind of stuff is good for them, and badges because they sort of like that, achieving the new levels of, social sharing status and that kind of thing.
That lovely word, gamification.
Yes, exactly. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. And then you have also, another segment of our audience, and they tend to be people that have been customers for a while. So they're not the brand new customers, but they've been using our product for a while. What they have found rewarding is to be able to provide product input and also get rewards like, spend an hour on the phone with our product management team. Right. And, so to have that direct access in their case for a more experienced customer is valuable. So we really are trying to match the rewards to the profile of the champion.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I guess going back a little bit, one of the great frustrations for many entrepreneurs, business owners, executives, and things is that sometimes they struggle with advocacy and referrals and recommendations and all those sort of things, and because I think the assumption is that, well, if you do something that's great, then people should just talk about it. But why is it, do you think, that people don't automatically speak up, and in many cases they need encouragement to speak up?
Yeah, maybe, sometimes maybe they don't even realize how powerful that is when they speak up.
Right.
And they don't realize, that could really be helpful to the company I'm working with and this company that I've invested so much in. Mm-hmm. And they perhaps don't realize the value, or maybe, some of it is just a habitual thing. Like even when it comes to social sharing, like why don't people do more of that? Well, sometimes, you just need a carrot to sort of see the impact of that, or just develop a new habit. And if there's some reward that helps you, do something repeatedly till you realize, gee, I really kind of like doing this. Right. And that has a benefit. It sort of gets people in the habit of, or just trying it and getting into the habit of it.
Do you think it might be a little bit to do with just sort of something to do with perspective and assuming that sort of understanding what's front of mind? And sometimes, even though we do great stuff, we're not at the front of our customers' mind, and sometimes we need to make sure that we remind them how great we are and ask them to help us, because they're not always thinking about us. Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, I think that's very true. And, and I think, the champions or advocates have, they have a very high incentive to do that. So if you look at, say, maybe some of the other audiences that might be, interested in your company, like say, for example, your social followers, they may or may not be customers or partners or employees, and they may not be very invested in you. Sure. So you may have a lot of followers, but, that they're not, as I say, they're not thinking of you when you really want to ask them to do something. They may not be there. Sure. Then you have, some people who are very influential, who maybe they're industry analysts, bloggers, reporters, and, what they say has a lot of weight, but they also have their own priorities, and so again they may not be there. So I think champions and advocates have much more of an incentive to help you, and sometimes it just takes that asking to do so.
Do you think also that there might be a little bit where if you invite somebody to become a champion or part of a champion program, there's an element of social recognition in that, and we all love a bit of sort of a pat on the back and say a well done and thanks very much and all of those things, and it's one of our fundamental human needs, I think.
Yes, absolutely. I think that recognition is a big part of it, and and going along with that, it's just that people like to connect with other people and get that recognition. So that's enormous.
Excellent. So, Joan, if you were a business, if you were going to give some advice to an entrepreneur or a business, whether large or small, that wanted to start their own champion program and say follow in your footsteps, what would your top tips be?
I think, let me think. There's a few things. So one is, I think it's important, as you point out, where do you find those advocates? So one is really in getting started, thinking about where those places that your advocates live and what are they doing. And so identifying those different audiences of potential advocates is important. And then I think next is segmenting them. So recognizing that all those advocates might like to do different things. They might have different interests in interacting with you. So really segmenting them into, looking at their profile, their preferences, their capabilities, and also, what they can and want to do with you. And I think, varying the rewards is also a good tip. So, people respond to different things, and sometimes, they can't respond to certain things. So, if they're in a regulated industry, sure, they can't really accept a monetary reward, but certainly they can, if it's something like getting training for their organization, that's huge, or direct access to, leadership of the company, those are rewards that they would very much appreciate. So the variety and the rewards is important.
Fantastic.
And then, a few others. I think one is cross incentivizing your champions, and when you look at your different audiences. So, for example, we found our customer champion program became much more effective when we also launched an employee champion program.
Right.
And the way that works is that we incentivize our customer-facing teams to ask our customers to do those things that we're already asking them to do. So, for example, we may put a reward out there and a challenge to our advocates to say, hey, could you provide a testimonial or a press reference? And there's an incentive for doing that, but then there's also an incentive for someone on their account team to go the extra step to, when they're on the phone with them, ask them the question, like say, hey, would you share that story you just told me in the form of a customer testimonial? So if we give both parties the rewards, the results are magnified.
Excellent. So it's all about joined up thinking.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent.
When we use, key to really scaling our program, I have to give a lot of credit to our technology platform as well. So, to scale this effectively, technology has been very helpful in doing that. So, for example, some of these things that we were doing with our customers, we have been doing for a long time, and lots of companies, have been doing this for many, many years. But we happen to use a technology called Influitive as the platform, and that really helps us scale the whole program, really, to be able to recruit our advocates, corral them, pose challenges to them, provide rewards and fulfillment and recognition, and the whole badging system. So the technology has really enabled us to scale.
Excellent, Joan. That's fascinating and really interesting, and hopefully you've provided us with some of our listeners and readers with a few keys to the locked door that is customer advocacy.
Wonderful.
That was a recording of a conversation I had with Joan Babinski recently, and I just want to first of all thank Joan for her time and her insights, and for showing us how they built their community of customer champions. This has been the Rare Business Podcast. Thank you.